Vols are back.
Yeah. Money make the world go round. I'm trying to get it all right now. Everybody worry about the crown big. Look, homie, I'm the man right now. Talking to a PI, kind of time we on. Don't roll like the kind of take eons. Got a little buzz, it's time to go beyond. Can't look back, no time to hit rewind. Yeah, she wants to do S class. I'm like, boo, you must ask. They pour way too much in your glass. Just move your hips like a hold up class. Hit the gab, I talk that gab. Strut like up, and I walk that shit. When I'm up, that's it. I'ma start living reckless. Get that bag, I'ma walk like this. Yeah, I'ma walk like this. Hit that lane, I'ma walk like this. Walk in the spot, but they all get lit. Told them on flow, let me talk my shit. Every song bang when they drop in hit. Said on the man, post up, no miss. Over your head, next time, don't slip. Play your part, better read that script. Yeah, I'ma walk like this.
Well, the day has finally come. You never thought we'd do it, but somehow we did it. And there is a lot of debate. I'm hearing everything from Tennessee is going to the promised land. This guy's going to ball out and take us to the national championship, all the way down to we're never winning a single game again. And both of them are coming from our lovable Vol fan base. As in lovable, it's so lovable that you could squeeze the life out of it with your own hands and choke it to death. But nonetheless, that's all there is to it. We'll debate that and a whole lot more tonight. First of all, oi fellow comrades, it's your boy Squidtard here. You all know him all too well, Mr. Squidtard Sports, Squidtard, whatever you want to pronounce me as well as my co-hosts, Mr. Julio Rodriguez, and our other co-host, and I'll do the introduction for him. Yeah, so please do try and explain that one.
Dude.
I'd love to hear your reasoning for that. I'll let y'all see it again in case you missed it the first time.
I was making a joke and I got too caught.
We don't care. But yeah, welcome to episode 87 of the Vol Star Podcast. We're glad to have you guys over here. As always, we love each and every one of you who appears here on the Squidtard Podcast, the Vol Star Podcast, whatever you want to call it. But we've got a jam-packed episode for you guys. We've had a string of continuous weeks here on the show that we have just had so much to talk about, it's hard to jam it into an hour. We'll be having our special guest, Mr. Rec Talk, coming on the show in about 10 minutes. So, like we've done before, we're going to start at the end and then go up from there. So we're going to start with the softball team. And oh boy, this is really, really interesting. So the softball team, in case y'all need a breath of fresh air about that, need a breather to learn about it, the Lady Vols achieved their first SEC Series sweep of the 2025 season by defeating Auburn in a 3-game series at Sherry Parker Lee Stadium. Now, the importance of this is not the fact that we beat Auburn in the series, but what happened afterwards. Tennessee has finally made it to the number 1 spot in the AP poll. That's right. Vol softball, number 1 in the nation. Above Oklahoma, above Texas, above every other team in the softball world. Somehow, we are at the very top. And while it may be fleeting, we're going to enjoy it up here. Are you guys enjoying it up here?
I mean, what can I say? We're right now the hottest team in college softball right now. Carolyn Pickens is the best pitcher. Of course, a few weeks ago, we got 2 really big series wins against Oklahoma and Texas. I mean, what else can I say? This team's red hot right now, and in a few weeks, we'll find out who the real number 1 is because we are playing Texas A&M here in a few weeks. But first, we play a series against who were we? I can't remember who we're playing in a series in, but I know I'm pretty sure they're not that great. So I think we should win the series, but who knows?
Right. Julio, you got any thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm happy we're finally number one. We definitely earned it after beating the top two teams on the road. I think Auburn was also ranked top 10, and we swept them. Was it on? I think it was at home. So we still swept, I think, a top 10 opponent at home. Very deserving. And like Lucas said, Carolyn Pickens is the best, pitcher in college softball. So.
Right. Whack 42 or Whack 545. Appreciate the $5 super chat. He says Joey Aguilar has a 1.64 to 1 touchdown to interception ratio. So in other words, 23-14 is basically what he's saying there. It sounds almost similar to what Hendon Hooker had before he came here to Tennessee, and we all know how that turned out. So it's not the end of the world in my opinion. We're gonna talk about that and a whole lot more tonight. So we'll get to it at some point. But yes, the ladies softball continues to move forward at an alarming rate. Hopefully they continue to do so. We'll be keeping an eye on them as the weeks progress. The baseball team, however, has not had the same success. In fact, they have had a terrible week. A very, very, very terrible week. In a 3-game series at Lindsey Nelson Stadium, we played against the Kentucky Wildcats. Yes, these dummies. Let me see if I can find the stinger.
Kentucky baseball, Kentucky baseball, Kentucky baseball. Whoa.
And the worst part about that whole entire ordeal is that they somehow came out the winners. Yes, Tennessee lost a series in baseball to Kentucky at home for the first time since 2016. It's a very, very, very unfortunate skid for the baseball team. I'm not sure what's going on with them. Obviously, the whole number one in the rankings thing clearly got in their heads, because ever since then they have not been playing like a number one team. In fact, they haven't been playing like a top 10 team, but somehow they still find themselves in there. What do you guys think is wrong with the baseball team?
Too many errors. Mostly that's the thing killing us, but that's just kind of how I see it. And we're just making way too many dumb errors, and I guess gotten to our heads a little bit.
Not to mention the pitching, it's just not as good as last year's. It's not.
Yeah, Liam Doyle, I mean, it was starting out good. Liam Doyle's good, but we've had too many blow-up starts where we've just allowed too many runs. So.
Right. So it's very concerning from our point of view. Obviously, a lot of time left in this season. You know, you've got, just like every other fan base, but specifically to ours, we've got two sides of the same spectrum. We're never winning a game again, and then on the other side, we're still going to win the national championship and run it back in Omaha. We're going to be fine. This is just a skid in the road. So it's stuff like that. Where do y'all think we're leaning right now?
I don't know. I think we're getting – it doesn't even really matter. It's all about getting hot at the right time. And who knows, maybe this team finds their groove comes tournament time. We don't know. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I also think it depends on who we get in our, regional or super regional.
Yeah. It'll all come in due time. That's what I know for a fact. Still a lot of time left in the regular season, and we'll continue to talk about it more as we get closer and closer to that postseason that everybody's been waiting for. And hopefully we'll run it back in the College World Series if we make it there. All right, over to the Lady Vols, and this has been a pretty good week for them as well. Not as good as the men's basketball team, as you're soon to find out, but not a bad week after all. So first of all, Destiny Wells, a guard on the Lady Vols, entered the transfer portal on April 17th, becoming the third Lady Vol to do so following the conclusion of Kim Codwell's first season. But we did get an addition out of it. Lady Vols bolster their roster by securing SMU transfer Nia Robertson, 5'7" guard, and a second-team All-ACC selection. So pretty good pickups for the Lady Vols. Now there is another person that I'm forgetting the name of that we picked up, and isn't she a 5-star?
I think so. I can't remember. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a pretty big pickup.
I can't remember off the top of my head. The only one I remember is SMU. I might not
Yes,
have been
that
on
now
that.
I remember. Now I got it. That Janiah Barker from UCLA is coming to Tennessee. Now that's not the only steal we've gotten from UCLA this week, huh? Funny how that works.
Yeah.
But yeah, Janiah Barker, big time player out of UCLA, hits the portal and joins Tennessee for Kim Caldwell's second season. So huge pickup right there. And you can already tell just from those things alone that Kim Caldwell is just doing such a magnificent job. 2 years ago, I made a video talking about how the Lady Vols are back. And so far, that take is continuing to run really, really well because the Lady Vols look like they're backer than ever. So, yeah, great stuff for that. Great stuff for us. All right, over to the men's basketball team. Big news for them, of course, and I think everybody knows what I'm getting ready to talk about. This is the big news coming out of the basketball team. 5-star recruit, Nate Dement, one of the hottest names in the recruiting class. You know, Kentucky was going after him. Duke, Louisville, and Arkansas were all going after him. But out of all of those names, he says, screw all those other guys. We're committed to the good guys. He commits to Tennessee. So shout out to Nate Dement. He's obviously he is a really, really good player. 6'9", 5-star forward from Virginia, ranked number 4 nationally on On3. And like I said, he chose Tennessee over top-tier basketball programs like Duke, Kentucky, and Louisville. Now, Kentucky not so top anymore, since the peak of their program right now is the fact that Tennessee hasn't made a Final Four yet. But that's beside the point. Huge pickup for the Volunteers. What's your guys' thoughts?
I mean, really good get. Of course, obviously a 5-star. I'm pretty sure the highest recruit in Tennessee men's basketball history. So what can I say? Really good get. Of course, it sucks that we missed out on that Freeman guy from Lincoln Memorial, but it is what it is. Hopefully, we go out and get Rodney Rice as well from Maryland. That would be really nice. You know, hopefully Jacoby Gillespie convinces Rice enough to come here. Is like, listen, man, we already – same with Barnes. Goes like, listen, man, we got all the pieces we have to possibly – have a really good run next year. You're the missing piece. We need you.
Exactly. So things seem to be turning out in the right direction for the basketball team, a huge recruit like that. And what I've been hearing is that he's going to get on the starting roster. He's not even going to be sitting on the bench. He's going to be at the top.
I would imagine so. He's number 4 overall recruit. I mean, I would imagine he starts.
Yeah. Well, we've run out of time to talk about basketball. We're going to touch on the other sports later on through the year, but this is football time, as we already know. Football time in Tennessee, per se. Now then, we've got a very special guest in the back room. I talked about him earlier, and I'll talk about him again. He actually brought me onto his show. He started a new show over there on his channel, and I was a guest on the preliminary show, the very first show that he had. So at least in that regard. So shout out to him for that. But we're gonna go ahead and bring him in. My good buddy, fellow Georgia Tech man, we'll be seeing him next season, the 2026, because we're playing Georgia Tech on the road. So, but yeah, Mr. Ramblin' Wreck himself, Mr. Wreck Talk is here with us. How you doing, Wreck?
What's going on, guys? How are y'all doing?
I am doing all right.
I'm wearing orange for you as well. I thought that'd make you happy.
Appreciate it. It's like I wouldn't be able to tell because it's not the orange that I'm used to seeing. Ours is a little darker than that, but you've got the right idea. I mean,
Yeah.
Look at Lucas. He already failed.
He's got lighter orange than me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are you doing?
You failed. Yeah. Not to mention we caught him doing this.
That looks like a cat in heat backing up, getting ready for that male cat. That's what that looks like.
Okay.
That's absolutely perfect. A perfect comparison right there. But anyway, yeah. We're glad to have you on the show, Mr. Wreck. Tell us, how are you feeling today?
I feel great. Yeah, I feel great, man. I mean, I can't complain. No one want to hear it anyways. That's what Twitter's for.
Exactly. Perfect.
By the way, there's a lot of Tennessee fans mad at me right now over my Haynes King video because it was on your message boards. It was all over Twitter, and that someone called me a clickbaiter. I'm like, what? I titled it exactly what it is. So I don't know. I guess y'all have settled down now since you got this Aguilar kid. But I'm trying to find film on him. Did he not start all of UCLA's games last year?
Yeah, he didn't play a lot with UCLA. Instead, that was Ethan Garbers that got most of the playing time last season. I think he was like third on the bench because I think they started the true freshman above him. They had a 5-star true freshman playing above him, I'm pretty sure. I forgot his name, something more. But now he hit the portal as well. He went to Oregon. So
Yeah, you're talking about Dante Moore.
Dante Moore, that's right. Yeah. And so now UCLA's only option at quarterback is Nico, I left you. So good luck with that.
But he's got 3,003 yards. So he had to play more than he had to play a good bit.
I know he was good. I know he was good at App State, but I don't know. SEC is, of course, a different breed.
He threw for 3,757 yards with them. 33 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. That touchdown interception ratio is concerning, but unless I saw him play, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the circumstances that led to that.
I mean, the thing is, though, under Heupel's system, quarterbacks when they transfer have been known to throw less interceptions under Heupel. I mean, not saying that he's automatically going to get better, but
yeah, well, when you throw a lot of screens, you tend to throw less interceptions.
Yeah, and don't forget the occasional run up the middle and the shovel pass. Rec talk, don't forget about that.
Ooh, I love the shovel pass. Ooh.
And I'm talking about, Tech does that. Ton of screen passes. So Haynes King had tons of interception issues the year before it last, right? It was much improved last year, but most of his passes were 5 yards or less.
Right.
So it's kind of like, okay, I mean,
that's the product of a coaching staff that doesn't fully trust their quarterback. And for, guys that throw a lot of turnovers, throw a lot of interceptions, I sort of understand that. Joe Milton had a problem with that, so that's why we kind of relegated to screens and whatnot. I still wish we got more creative. There's ways to sort of, not have to throw deep every time, but keep your offense at least somewhat creative. We saw that with Alex Golish in the Orange Bowl against Clemson. I mean, Joe Milton was still completing passes for touchdowns because our offense was way more creative. We had guys wide open. We're sort of really lacking that now, which is extremely concerning.
Well, you'll see offenses get caught or quarterbacks get caught in I have to throw it 45 yards downfield or at the line of scrimmage, and there's no in between. I mean, most of your interceptions are going to come throwing across the middle, right? Like throwing drags, throwing slants or something that a linebacker can step in front of. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't watched a ton of Tennessee football. I mean, I am really excited that we get a home and home because most Power 4 teams are, I don't know what your language policy is, wimps, and they don't want. That's fine. They don't. They want to schedule, New Mexico State A&M for non-con games, but you guys didn't do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, originally that was Nebraska. We were going to head up to Lincoln to face off against Nebraska, but then they canceled on us. So
because Nebraska is wimps.
They took
unlike Georgia Tech. Unlike Georgia Tech, they didn't run. This is how you do it, Nebraska.
Yeah. Well, you got to give a lot of credit to Georgia Tech for that because not only are they now playing Tennessee in a non-con, but you stack that with some of these other big-time games. Obviously you're playing Georgia every single year, and they're going to be a tough bout no matter where you're playing. And then aren't you playing Notre Dame in 26 too?
I'd have to look at that schedule. I know we played them last year. Notre Dame has this, we just want to put our toe in the water of the ACC. So I think they schedule 6 ACC games, but that's another team that we don't play. I couldn't tell you the last time we beat Notre Dame. It's been a minute. But yeah, Tech generally has a pretty tough schedule. This year it lines up a bit better. But yeah, I think we're going to be playing Tennessee in the Benz. Part of us scheduling you guys though is if because of the ACC getting sued by FSU, now part of your conference payout is beholden to your TV ratings, and it's a 5-year rolling average. So that was a big reason. And also we're like, I'm sure RADJ Bad is saying, well, we've got to audition for conference realignment, so we got to schedule these games.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll be happy to let you know you do not play Notre Dame in 26. However, you do play the Fighting Nepotisms in Colorado.
Yeah, we have a home and home with them, so we open up with them this year. That's another fan base that has been fairly upset with me, especially over the jersey retiring thing. Someone commented like, just look at all the money that they're bringing in, though. And I was like, well, I didn't know that was a criteria to retire a jersey. Maybe not, but what about their stats? I'm like, thanks for making my point.
Exactly. Listen, I was just going to say, I understand retiring Travis Hunter's jersey because he won the Heisman, right? I can understand that.
Player.
Yeah, I can understand retiring that, but Shedeur Sanders, that makes no sense. It feels like he only got his jersey retired just because Deion is his dad.
The product of nepotism.
It's exactly why. I mean, it's exactly why. In fact, Shadeur's biggest problem is his father. If I'm a team looking to draft Shedeur, I might pass on him because I don't want to fool with the nonsense his dad might bring to the table. Because the minute he feels like you're not thoroughly kissing his son's ass enough, he's going to get on Twitter. He's going to start doing interviews, trashing the coach, trashing the team. It's not something I would want to deal with as an NFL team.
Yeah. It's a deterrent the same way that Nico is kind of suffering. Now, a part of it has been his fault, but having his dad as his agent has definitely done him more bad than good.
Yeah, absolutely. He's making less money. He's playing for a far worse team. What did UCLA go last year? What was their record?
5-7.
So they didn't even make a bowl last year.
That's correct. They lost. They played Fresno State in their final game and they lost, I think. Or they might have been 4-7 and then they beat them. But point still stands, they didn't make a bowl.
I'm gonna look at that.
You forgot to mention the fact that Nico is a straight up liar. He said that it wasn't about the money, that it was about the offense. Yet UCLA I'm pretty sure had one of the worst offenses in the FBS last year.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, if we're talking about Nico, let's catch up on the Nico saga, shall we? Well, obviously, we all know he committed to UCLA. Now, the ironic part about that is now, instead of making $4 million a year like he was, or $3 million or whatever it was at Tennessee, now he's making less than $1 million. His contract says, I think, $1.25 million, but because rather than a 0% income tax, now it's a 12%. Guess what? Now it's down to 9 point whatever million. So, or 9 point.
He wishes he made that much. He
wishes 9 whatever million.
970,000 or something. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So less than $1 million. So he's losing money and he's missing out on the ability to play in a championship. Not that I think Tennessee will necessarily, but I'd say his odds are way better with Tennessee. Oh, I mean, it's just a terrible PR move. This entire saga has been nothing but a complete pathetic PR move by his entire family. And that includes his entire family, because I don't know if you know this, Rec. The news just dropped literally right before the show. His little brother, Madden Iamalieva, guess what? He just hit the portal.
To UCLA.
His little brother? What does his little brother play?
He played at Arkansas. And literally the news just dropped. He transferred to UCLA too. So now what position? Them, quarterback.
He plays QB.
Yeah. Yeah.
What? Here's the hilarious thing. They screwed UCLA over at the last minute to get more money from Arkansas, and now UCLA is going to take him back.
Yeah, I mean, talk about snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. If he would have just held on at Tennessee, probably probably would have been fun. I don't know much about UCLA, and guess what? Neither does anyone else that's not a UCLA fan. What do they have on offense? What do they have wide receiver-wise? What does their offensive line look like? What is their defense like? Is he going to have to score 50-plus points a game? Like, I'm looking – they lost 5 straight games last year. They beat Hawaii, they had a bye, and they lost 5 straight games to Indiana, LSU, Oregon, Penn State, Minnesota. The other thing is, and this is more to do – we kind of talked about it on my show, like he is the poster child – for everything that's wrong with college football now. So in the way that everyone was rooting against Florida State last year, that's what Nico's going to be. But also I'm so happy that this worked out this way, because a lot of college football fandom and trash talk is similar to pro wrestling. And this is a great angle that we have now with just doing this is the first time I think we've had a straight quarterback trade, right?
Yeah, literally, this is the first time we've seen something like this.
And I would think, like, I don't know. I mean, how do you feel with your quarterback situation now? Like,
well, I'd say we're better off because I mean, I like Jake Merklinger and I of course like McIntyre too. But these are two guys that have not had a lot of time to sort of get any playing experience. They've had a lot of time to adjust to the Heupel system, but they don't have a lot of playing experience. Aguilar, while he isn't the best quarterback, while it isn't like we're picking up a huge top recruit, we got a guy with a lot of experience. So
it's interesting though, because he's a guy that's played a good bit, and he's listed as a transfer, a 3-star 85, which is like, I don't know if when you look into like recruiting ratings and portal ratings, that's like a generic thing they usually slap on kids. So obviously you can't look at every high school recruit. So 99% of them are 3-star 85. So it's just interesting to me that he gets a generic label when he's played a good bit.
Right. It's such a weird situation. And now, I mean, do we feel bad for UCLA for what's going to come to them?
I'm ambivalent toward UCLA. Like, they needed a quarterback. Honestly, Nico's probably better than this kid that you got, Aguilar or whatever. So, and they get him on a deal. Actually, we should probably be commending UCLA somewhat, because they got a 5-star quarterback at bargain bin 3-star prices. So I wouldn't feel bad for them, no.
Well, I'll start commending them if I see actual results on the field. That's kind of the determining factor on all this, is how well is he going to do at UCLA? Because it's not, he doesn't have a Pac-12 schedule anymore. No, UCLA doesn't have that. They play in the Big Ten. They play a lot of the big boys. In fact, Nico gets to travel back to Columbus in November. Have fun with that, buddy.
Jeez, yeah. I mean, looking at their schedule, like, who knows with Utah, UNLV, New Mexico, Northwestern, the Wiener Car Wash, so maybe you can get a win there. Number 3, Penn State, dominant defense, just absolutely animals on defense. Michigan State, I don't know anything about. Maryland. I tend to think Indiana takes a step back this year. They had a pretty easy schedule last year, right? I mean, they're ranked preseason 17. Nebraska, Ohio State, Washington, USC. They might not be going bowling this year either, even with Nico. Who knows?
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me.
Mm-hmm. It all depends on who's right here. The haters for Nico or the people who are chanting he's the best quarterback, because there's nobody doing that. But the only reason some of the people are hyping up Nico in the first place was because he left Tennessee. Because it's a weird situation, because we've been talking about it before the past few weeks. A lot of the same people who basically body bag Tennessee. Oh, Nico sucks. He's one of the worst quarterbacks of the SEC. He's terrible. He ain't no good. You're not going to win many games with that clown. He leaves, and then suddenly all these fans are laughing like, ha, 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 you lost Nico, ha, ha, you lost one of your really bad quarterbacks. I'm like, you said he was bad, and now we're improving, and now suddenly it's worse. I don't.
Well, you went
understand.
9-3 with them, right? You went 9-3. You lost to what? Georgia, Arkansas. Like everyone's going to have a game like losing to Arkansas. You're always going to lose to someone at least once that you shouldn't lose to. And then everyone, as much as we've trolled Tennessee for this, everyone got donkey punched by Ohio State in the postseason. I mean, that's just what it was. It's just relative to what he was paid. He wasn't necessarily performing, and you were a very good defensive team last year, right?
Yeah.
So
Very true.
you could kind of make up for what Nico or the offense wasn't necessarily doing. I think had he stayed, he would have had a really good year this year.
Yeah. Real quick, we got to catch up on super chats. I've been missing out on these. Young man Connor, appreciate the $2 super chat. He says, "I see Georgia Tech going 10-2 or 11-1. I'm not on crack."
Man,
Boy.
I'm not even that high, and you're probably not going to find a bigger Tech fan on the internet. Tech's got a lot of problems on defense they got to sort out.
That is
But
true.
I appreciate it. I hope you're right.
Yeah, y'all got a new defensive coordinator, right? The safeties coach from Texas.
Yeah, and we just got the top cornerback out of the portal with him. So we'll see. We need defensive linemen. Oh, and we also got a defensive back from Colorado.
Yeah, that is true. Young man Connor with the $2 super chat again. Thank you, buddy. He says, talking about Nico's younger brother, he committed to Arkansas for no reason. Definitely true. He came to Arkansas, didn't play a snap, and then left to go back to UCLA. It's what a hell zone we're living in with this transfer portal, man.
Is his brother even good at all? I mean,
I don't know.
We don't know. He's never
play.
played a snap.
what was he rated out of high school?
I think he was a 4-star.
Okay.
Yeah, he wasn't bad, but again, he's never played a down, so I have no idea how he's going to adjust with the UCLA coaching staff. Might be great. Both of them might be really, really good. Both of them might be some of the worst quarterbacks we've ever seen. And I know if that's the case, that Vol Twitter is going to absolutely destroy some people. Yeah,
Yep.
man. But does anybody like Vol Twitter?
I have a love-hate relationship with Vol Twitter.
Everyone here does.
Look, in your defense,
Same.
every fan base's Twitter is like that. Every fan base, if someone good, for instance, with Colorado, they have a true freshman All-American center transfer out. I'm told, well, he's no good, not going to start anyways. Like every fan, and anyone who's good that transfers out, not good. Everyone that's coming in, Heisman. That's Twitter is made for that.
Yeah, Shador deserved having his jersey retired. He took Colorado to a 10-win season. He absolutely deserved to be in that spot.
Yeah, and if you feel some kind of way, you're just a hater. You're just mad, bro. Someone left me a comment that's like, "You mad, bro? Get a life." And they left it in the middle of the day on Easter Sunday. So who needs to get a life in that scenario? I don't know.
Dem's the facts. How about this? That's literally his name. With the very generous $20 super chat, I appreciate that, man. He says, "Here's for the good work," and people are stupid. Both of those things are very, very true. People are definitely stupid. Quite a few, in fact.
Yeah. As a population, I do think we're getting dumber, at least in the college football world, fandom wise.
Yeah. Niblo Gamer with the $5 super chat. Appreciate it, man. He says, you got to include Days of Our Vols in the spring football March Madness video. Wait a minute. Hold up. I think you might want to rephrase that. Spring football March Madness video. Is that like a football, basketball video in one?
And a soap opera.
Yeah, wow. It got everything in there. But yes, in case you are curious, that's literally the first thing I'm going to touch on in the Cultural Chaos Spring Edition, so stay tuned for that. Not with another $5 super chat. He says, for rec, who do you think had the hardest championship run with regular and postseason combined?
For last year, I don't know if he means of all time or for last year. I'm
saying last year.
let's see. I'd have to remember. Let's look at the college football. Let me look at the college football bracket, playoff bracket from last year.
I guess if you want to go all the way back, 2014, Ohio State was kind of tough. They had to play Alabama and then Oregon.
Well, Notre Dame had a really rough path this season. Starting out with Indiana was at least pretty good, but after that, you've got some pretty tough games to fight through. You got to play Georgia, got to play Penn State, and then you got to play Ohio State. Ohio State had a really tough path too, at home against Tennessee, and then after that, you're playing Oregon in the Rose Bowl, Texas in the whatever bowl, and then Notre Dame in the championship. So I think this 12-team playoff has really set up some extremely difficult championship runs because, in the 14 playoff, it was you win 2 games in the postseason and you won the championship. But here, you've got to win 4, and they're against 4 really good teams. So you got to show up and show out, and that's the only way that you're going to get to the promised land.
Yeah, I would probably say Oregon for last year. Because their out of conference was Boise State, which they scraped by 37-34. But Boise State had the best running back in the country. They had to play Ohio State in the regular season. Michigan, who wasn't as good, but they beat Ohio State. Washington. Then you had to play Penn State in the Big Ten championship game. So you played 2 playoff teams in the regular season. You get a bye for winning your conference title to play the hottest team in college football, who is also in your conference. So I would say Oregon last year had the best regular season and postseason combined, hardest path.
Yeah, that is true. He did
he
say,
meant all time.
he did mean all time. Appreciate the $2 super chat, by the way. Yeah, that's a really tough question, though. I really don't know where to even begin with that one.
Yeah, I'll think about that. Before the end of the show, I will have an answer.
And of course we're thinking about teams that made it and actually won the championship. So it's really, really hard to figure out. Dadgummit, Chrome just crashed again. The stream, of course, the stream's still running. You guys can obviously still hear me, but my Chrome screen, whenever I'm reading the live chat, it'll do this thing to where eventually it'll just crash on me, and then I have to basically refresh the tab. Very annoying. Okay, we're back now. So let's see. You know what? Let's talk about this. Why don't we? Rec, we talked about the Georgia Tech schedule a little bit. We do this every single time here on the Vol-Star podcast when we let other fan bases on the show. But I want to hear your take on Georgia Tech's schedule, and I'll pull it up on the screen in just a minute. I'm sure you've had some time to look over it yourself, but I wanted to give you some time to talk about it, give us your thoughts on how difficult it is, which, being a Georgia Tech schedule, it's obviously not the easiest per se.
Yeah, so I've got it pulled up here. And the tough thing with doing this in the preseason is you just don't know who's going to pop off. Like Miami was way better last year than I thought they were going to be. We ended up winning that game. And Syracuse was way better than anyone thought they were going to be. But just based on what we know now, at Colorado, call me crazy, I'm not super worried about that game. They do have Juju Lewis coming in. I did look at film on Juju Lewis. And if you didn't know, I played quarterback in high school and had all my throwing motion and stuff. We went to camps. So I'm not an expert, but I know good when I see it. And Juju Lewis is really good. He's really, really good. The velocity, the ball comes out of his arm, how quick his motion is, his footwork, all very good. But Colorado just loses too much, so I'm not super worried about at Colorado, and it's going to be great if we end up doing what I think we're going to do for my channel. Garner Webb, nothing to talk about. Clemson. Clemson's a game I'm never going to pick Georgia Tech to win until they do. We haven't beat Clemson since Deshaun Watson's freshman year. And that is only because he got hurt. He got hurt in like the first quarter of the game. And Cole Stout or something ended up having to come and play quarterback for Clemson. Paul Johnson was coach, if that tells you how long. We got to go back 2 coaches before we beat Clemson. That is an interesting game for Clemson, though. Clemson returns a lot. But Tech is a team that tends to play way up to talent and way down to talent. So I think just in general for Georgia Tech this year, if you are a really good team like Clemson, you really don't want to play Georgia Tech at the moment. But I don't think we win that game. I think we win Colorado, obviously Garner-Webb. I think we get beaten a close one in Atlanta by Clemson. Temple is an interesting, what would you call it? Grudge match for me, because that's where Jeff Collins came from before Georgia Tech. We played Temple while Jeff Collins was the coach, and you know how many points we scored in that game?
I'm gonna say the over/under is somewhere between 15 and 17, and I'll take the under on that.
Way under. We scored 2 points in that game. So
Disgusting work. Disgusting work.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, Jeff Collins was something else, but obviously I think we beat Temple at Wake Forest. Wake has a new coach. Wake's been way down for the past 2 years. I think we win that game. So you go in your first 5 games, I think we win 4. We'll go 4-1 by Virginia Tech in Atlanta. Now, Virginia Tech every year is a team that is the darling of everyone's dark horse ACC title, but I think that they lose Drones, or is he back this year? I think they lose Drones. I think
they lose them too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do.
In that game last year, if Haynes King was injured, had we started Aaron Philo in that game, we probably would have won it. I'd have to come back. I think we win at Duke. I think Syracuse is going to be way down. Let's just say in these 4 games, at NC State.
Actually, hold on a second. Now that I'm looking at it, I think Kyron Jones is coming back for another year.
Is he?
What is this? Is like his 10th year?
Well, this is last year.
All right. I think we have injury issues in the middle of the season here. I think we go 2-2 there. I say we drop at NC State and Virginia Tech. At Boston College is a game that actually scares me. It's a team that we just don't play great against. Who knows what Pitt lost their last 7 games of the year, but their quarterback was hurt, and he's really good. He was out for the back half of the season. I think we go 2-3 in that. I'm not picking us to beat Georgia until we do it. I don't want to talk about the 8 overtimes. I freaking hate Georgia. Athens is a cesspool of a bunch of idiots that nothing good has ever come out of that city. I hate it.
Speak your facts, brother. Speak your facts.
They are my facts. So, all right, I got us dropping to Georgia, NC State, Virginia Tech, and Clemson. So I got us going 8-4. I feel like that's pretty reasonable. That would be an improvement over last year in 8 regular season wins. But I will say this. I think it's critical for Georgia Tech. You have got to beat either Clemson or Georgia this year. Got to. And really, you need to beat your in-state rival.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my thought on that. As far as the team in general, obviously we bring back Haynes King. The thing is, Haynes King we were talking about it, he does not throw downfield that well. When I watch him, he's a guy that, and maybe you got this impression from quarterbacks that have played for you, he wants to go to one wide receiver. And if that's not open, his first read's not open, he either takes off and runs, which is when he's most successful, or he just holds on to it too long. So once he gets to his second read, it's taken so long, now that route has been undercut. And that's when he gets into throwing picks downfield. Aaron Philo is probably the best kept secret, the backup for Georgia Tech. He's a guy that broke Trevor Lawrence's in-state passing record, and he did it in 3 years when it took Trevor Lawrence 4. He's going to be good for Tech. We bring back Jamal Haynes, who's a top 10 running back in the country. We do lose 3 off the offensive line, both tackles and a center, but Tech's fairly deep on that offensive line, and Brent Key's got that cooking. We bring in Eric Rivers out of the portal. We do lose Eric Singleton Jr. But the biggest thing for Tech, if you think Tech's going 10-2 or something, you got to show me where the improvement is on the defensive line. You only returned 1 guy that played last year. You lose 9, you bring in 9. But the thing in the portal is the most expensive players are going to be those defensive linemen, and I don't know that Tech's got the wallet to go get a big one. You're going to have to find a diamond in the rough somewhere. But maybe Blake Gideon can get something cooking in the secondary, and you don't have to be as good up front. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we'll see about that. Yeah, if I attack, my main concern, obviously, the defensive front. The secondary has got some concerns too, but not to the extent of the defensive line, because I saw them last season. They weren't getting much of any pressure on really anybody. So if that upgrades just even a little bit through this offseason, then Tech should have a really good year, in my opinion, because I think their offense is improving. They've got a lot of guys coming back. I think they're going to make some impacts. Like you mentioned, I'm really high on your running back. I think he's going to make some noise immediately. I really like Jamal Haynes. He's a really good, and I've wanted him for a while now. But obviously, you guys get to keep him. Yeah,
and he's a guy that he came out of Grayson, which, if you're not familiar with Georgia high school football, is a football factory in the state of Georgia. And he was recruited at wide receiver. In fact, Jeff Collins was going to cut him and take his scholarship. So when he walked off a touchdown against UNC, and I was there, there was nothing more poetic in football than that. And Jeff Collins stood there with no socks on it and wearing shoes, which is a really loser thing to do. That's like wearing socks and flip-flops. Just, I don't get it.
I don't know why, but Jeff Collins strikes me as a type of guy to wear Sesame Street knee socks.
Well, he's a guy that literally had his players at practice whapping each other with pool noodles to simulate tackling. I mean, I just
that's Bush League right there.
I mean, I literally built a channel off of hating that guy. I mean, that was like the most popular stuff I did for the longest time.
You and C-Dog both, and we'll make sure to have C-Dog on too, because I'm sure C-Dog has some very similar takes on that. But yeah, no, I think 8-4 would be very reasonable for Georgia Tech to be. But I'll say this: if you do wound up winning that first game on the road in Boulder, the rest of the schedule besides Clemson and Georgia looks very favorable. Let me ask you this before I give my take on it. If you were to lose to both Clemson and Georgia but beat everybody you're supposed to, would that be forgivable?
Yeah, I mean, and look, as a Tech fan, you got it's a, your birth code that you have to hate Georgia. But that would mean we lose we go 10-2. You're saying would I rather beat Georgia and like go 8-4 or go 10-2? I'd rather go 10-2, because then you're in the playoffs. If you're probably going to the ACC title, I don't know if the ACC would get one or two teams in like last year, but you're back-ending your way into the playoffs. Like, obviously, I'm never going to turn that down. I would rather have that any day of the week.
Right. No, I definitely agree with you there. So looking at it from my perspective, I think Colorado is definitely a very winnable game. Like you said, they're losing their two top guys. Shedeur and Travis Hunter make more of an impact than, we make jokes about Shedeur Sanders, and obviously he didn't deserve to have his jersey number retired, but he was still a really good player for Colorado, put up video game numbers there. And losing him, I think, is going to make a huge impact. Whether or not Dion is still there by that point, by late August when that game rolls around. So I think Georgia Tech, looking like Georgia Tech could very well win that game. And then you look at the rest of the schedule, and all these games look pretty winnable. Wake Forest on the road is a little concerning because they're bringing in Robbie Ashford as a transfer. I don't think anybody knew that. In fact, I didn't know that until I looked it up. But yeah, they're bringing in Robbie Ashford. But after that, Virginia Tech. I think NC State. I think if you lose to NC State, there's some serious concerns that need to be addressed, because NC State, I think, in my opinion, I think this is Dave Doran's last year. I don't think NC State's going to be worth a flip. I think they're going to be as bad or maybe even worse than they were last season. Probably won't make a bowl. They just don't have anything going for them right now. They're not recruiting well. They aren't bringing in a lot of guys. And other than their quarterback, you look around and they've got absolutely nothing going on. So I think NC State, that's
their top wide receiver hit the portal, right? Concepcion or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't. Their quarterback is slick. He's a true freshman that can go, but I don't know. I'm with you. I don't know what else they have.
Yeah, no. But like I said, I think this is Doran's last year. I think he's the most likely of any of the ACC coaches to get canned this season. I do.
Really? Over Elliott?
Yeah, I do, because I think Virginia is a better team.
Yeah, you could be right. Could be right.
Maybe both of them could get canned. That's a very big possibility, but I think it's more likely Dorian's gone. Also, you have to think. I think the ceiling of expectations is higher for NC State than it is for Virginia. I think they pay attention more to that at NC State.
Well, every year they're like Virginia Tech, dark horse for the ACC title, with no evidence to support that. None whatsoever. Georgia Tech's out-recruited them for like the past decade, and that's sad.
Yeah. So, in my opinion, I don't think Georgia Tech just wins. I think you blow out NC State on the road. So, I think you run away with that game. Now, here's what I think. I think you're losing to Clemson and Georgia. Those are the popular possibilities there, and we're going to say that you lose to those two teams. And then everybody else in your schedule, I think you're losing 2 more games out of that. Duke and Syracuse, that's a really tough stretch right there. Duke on the road, that's going to be tough for anybody. I think Duke is bringing back a lot of guys. They got the Tulane quarterback, and they're paying him, what we paid Nico. So have fun with the 1-year rental you got because he's gone after this season. But for this year, Duke's going to be a pretty good team. Syracuse, obviously they were a very big surprise team last year with first-year head coach Fran Brown. Will that streak continue? We have no idea. Syracuse could come a little bit back down to reality this year. But winning both of those games, I think, is going to be tough for Tech.
We're more likely to lose to Duke, and you mispronounced his name. It's Fran Clown. He will be coming back to earth. This is a guy that said he doesn't bathe when he loses. This is a guy that gets mad if you're playing tubas and stuff while his kicker's practicing kicking at halftime. This is a guy that picked a beef with Brent Key because he didn't fellatiate him thoroughly enough because they were on the same staff for 3 weeks, however long ago. They lose their top wide receiver, one of the top wide receivers in the country, and I think you might disagree. What might be the best quarterback in the draft in Kyle McCord? I went to New York last year to tote that L back to Atlanta, and I'm telling you, Kyle McCord's the real deal.
Well,
so who are they replacing those guys with?
That's a good question. I have no idea. So we'll see how that goes. I do think Syracuse is a much more winnable game than Duke. Now, the other one I think that you're really going to struggle, that the kind of the stretch before Georgia, at Boston College, and then Pittsburgh. You do get Pitt at home, but they're bringing back Eli Holstein. I think Eli Holstein is one of the better quarterbacks in the ACC. He's gonna put up numbers against everybody he plays this season because he's got his running back coming back. I think Pitt's gonna have a pretty good season. I don't think they're gonna go to the playoffs or anything like that. But they could end up being what Syracuse was this last season. That team kind of right outside, kind of like at an 8 or 9 win stretch, and then ruin somebody else's season on the way. So we'll see how that goes. And then Boston College.
They ruined Syracuse season last year.
That's right. They did. Kyle McCord threw 3 pick sixes and back-to-back. That was probably the worst quarterback performance I've ever seen in my life.
It was like me playing NCAA 25 when you're trying to throw your way out of a bad showing. Pick six. Yeah.
I thought I was watching Sea Dog again.
By the way, side note, this irritates the fool out of me in NCAA 25. When the computer picks you, you can't tackle them. They make the greatest moves ever. Like they'll intercept it running full speed, turn around on a dime, and cut across field on you.
Oh yeah, no, believe me, I get it. My Tardaria Squidtards are on a 4-game losing streak right now. We're in all kinds of hell because we lost one of our best guys, and now the team looks like they can't even win a single game. So, dang. Yeah, stack that with the fact that we transitioned from the Sun Belt to the SEC, and that doesn't help.
Yeah.
Never.
But you're getting that money, though. That
is true. That is true.
It should solve your problems if you listen to Florida State.
That absolutely right. Oh, but don't forget to sue your own conference.
Did you sue the Sun Belt to get out of it?
We did, yeah. We absolutely did because our contract was way longer than that. We're a 3-year program by now, so yeah, our contract was way longer than that. Anyway, though, back to Tech. I will say I think the Yellow Jackets are in for what you said, an 8-4 type of season, which an improvement. That's an improvement over what they had in previous seasons. So this would be a great run for Tech. Now it's a shame that you don't play North Carolina. That does make me upset. Yeah, that does make me upset because I want to see the Jeff Collins saga continue.
Well, I don't think he's with them anymore. I mean, Bill Belichick's going to bring his son in. I don't think that's official yet. Or you might know better than me, but I'm pretty sure Jeff Collins is doing the same thing you and me are right now.
When I looked at the coaching staff recently, Jeff Collins' name was still on there as a defensive analyst. He's not the coordinator anymore. He's an analyst now. So. Yeah,
well,
nuts. Okay. When I told Pete and Sea-Dog that, they had a similar reaction. I mean, Sea-Dog was like, hey, no way, no freaking way they brought him back. I was like, yes, look, his name is still there.
I need him to do press conferences for my own purposes. But, yeah, there's not many teams Tech has dominated in recent memory, but North Carolina is one of them. We rattled off 4 in a row against the Tar Heels there.
Mm-hmm.
And Miami. Miami can't beat us to save their lives.
Oh, and I'm sure you want to play them. You've seen the whole Carson Beck fiasco. His girlfriend basically went on a tirade about him at some dinner. It's crazy. It's on Twitter and everything. I mean, his girlfriend went off on him. Said he's like an unlikable person. Nobody likes him.
Of course. Have you seen him? I was trying to get my daughter into college football, and we were watching. Georgia was on at the time, and Carson Beck. He took his helmet off. She ran out crying in horror, and I was like, "No, it's not a scary movie. That's just how he looks." And I had to explain it to her.
Dang,
but it scarred her.
Yeah, I know. Sid the Sloth out there.
I was like, that's a person. I know it's hard to believe.
But
does he look more like Sid the Sloth or Beavis from Beavis and Butthead?
Looks like Timmy from South Park is what he looks like.
Oh, yeah, that's another good one. I forgot about that one.
It's something else.
Well, I won't. I'm not going to dog somebody from their looks because I have a nose the size of the freaking ball on New Year's Eve. But I will say if it turns out he's a terrible person, then obviously that's bad. That's way worse than any look he could have.
You can't be both. If you're going to be ugly, you got to have a good personality.
Yeah, ugly on the inside and outside. I mean, that's the worst of both worlds. Holy hell. I'm going to see if I can find this because I want to play it here. I mean, she does. His girlfriend literally goes off about him. Like, a completely unlikable person. Then
why was she dating him? His money, I guess. Like Belichick and Belichick's girlfriend is like a decade younger than me, and I'm like 4 decades younger than Belichick.
Yeah, I don't get it, dude. I really don't get it. It's crazy. Let me see. Here it is. Here it is. I mean, this is absolutely crazy. I'm going to share my screen for you guys so that you can see this because this is unreal. So, obviously, these are the girls that know Carson Beck. One of them's his girlfriend. Listen to what she had to say.
So, basically, we were supposed to, we go to Nashville, right? And they want to come to Nashville, whole breakout, all this jazz. Yeah. On his phone like this, guy, the whole time. Dude, get off your phone. But does he have, friends? No. Nobody likes it. And he wouldn't talk to people. He's like an ego. He's like, he wanted people to stop and, take a picture. He would, flip off people in the bar, and I'd be embarrassed. I'm sorry. I'd be, very embarrassed, and I was like, oh, my God, how are you? Yeah. Anyhow, so, I broke up with him. And then I broke up with him, and, all these cheating shit came out. I had no idea. I didn't break up with him because of cheating. I broke up with him because of, who he was. Shit. Then I was like, shit. Sure. Might as well. Might as well. And then I kind of laughed him, but I had to do it the most political way because everyone was
that's the video that my friend sent. It was when you trust your son, you're such an intuition. Yes. Yes.
When you know.
No,
you know what I mean?
1,000%.
And then Hannah would be like, Haley, you need to be more friendly. I'm like, what do you mean? More absolutely. And my twin sister doesn't get along with it. No, I'm sorry.
So that's something I did not pick up when I initially watched this. That Carson Beck apparently cheated on her.
Yeah, you haven't seen the Instagram thing where he's like, "Oh my God, you're so effing hot. I love your tits," and like she screamed. Now I'm older, so I don't know what Instagram is or why anyone would be on it, but I guess it like deletes the thing after you read it. Is that how it works?
On Instagram, no, it's not like Snapchat. On Snapchat, it's like when you send something. Yeah, because that's how that works on Snapchat. You send something, and then if nobody saves it, it gets deleted after you exit out. And it tells somebody if you screenshot it. Instagram doesn't do that.
That seems like it's geared toward one thing and one thing only, by the way. I don't trust that. Here's my wiener. That's what it sounds like to me.
There you go. There you go. And you'll know if they screenshot it, so good luck trying to defend yourself from that. Now,
just don't put your face in it.
Yeah. Again, it could, I mean, chances are it could be just drunk girl talk and, you know, they're just saying whatever. But it's up to you who you want to believe. You can believe the girls, or you can believe Beavis and Butthead. Completely up to you.
Well, that's a tough spot to put me in. I'm not usually prone to just believing women, but I also don't like Carson Beck.
Yeah, really tough choice. Maybe you just believe nobody. You believe yourself.
Just go ahead and believe in yourself.
Yeah. Fravel Edits, appreciate the $5 super chat. He said Tennessee won the trade. By the way, Rec, I appreciate you for embarrassing our little bro Miami on a yearly basis now. They better hope they fix that D before weekend one.
Is he who is he a Tennessee fan? Is Miami your little brother?
He's a fighting Irishman because week one they play Notre Dame.
Bro. As much hell as Tech's been through, at least we've won our conference in the past 2 decades. They never won it. You know how hard it is for me a lot of times to do like YouTube and like I'm getting trolled for various things. I couldn't imagine if I was a Miami fan and I had to try and defend that. It's embarrassing.
South Carolina has more ACC titles than Miami does. Let that sink in for a minute.
Yeah,
Georgia Tech has more SEC titles than a lot of the teams in the SEC.
Yeah, let's not talk about Georgia Tech in the SEC because if you say that too many more times, TriStar is going to be summoned from the Aether.
Oh yeah,
I'm home.
Y'all want to hear about how South Carolina's an ACC team? No, we do not.
Nah.
I went into that gay strip club just to use the bathroom, and I was there for 45 minutes.
Yeah, Polk County.
All right, cool.
Polk County. Polk County.
Georgia Tech has SEC titles. Yeah, of course they do.
Yeah, I know Georgia Tech won. They were a SEC powerhouse back in the 100-something years ago.
Yeah,
but
but
an inaugural member. Have you not heard TriStar talk about this?
Oh, of course I have. Yeah.
Yeah, but Georgia Tech got mad about scholarships or something, and they left.
Well, honestly, Dodd got mad about the very thing that's happening now with NIL. So why do we have 105 scholarship limit now? Well, because with NIL, there are no scholarship limits. Because if you're out of scholarships, just supplement with NIL. So that's why I think they did this 105 thing. Alabama was doing that where there was no limit to who you could have commit to your team. And then he would just start cutting people. And Dodd was like, well, that's not messed up. If you offer someone a scholarship, you got to honor that. And then left the SEC over it.
Fravel Edits with another $5 super chat. Thank you, buddy. He says, Miami fans hold on to the fact they saw their team win an Natty when they were all a year old. Sad Notre Dame has played for more ACC championships than the U.
Damn. I'm going to use that now. That is
wow. Bad. That is really bad. Oh, ouch.
Because, they
Ouchie.
originally played the ACC title in Jacksonville. Because they're like, well, obviously Miami and Florida State are going to play for it every year. Never once has that happened.
Right. Now we did hit the $50 threshold, so don't mind me. There's something I must do.
Oh God.
I have to do it. This is a thing we do here on the show, Rec, when we hit $50. Possibly worse. This is something I have to do for every $50 I get. Watch and learn. This is how you hit the gritty. Ooh. Ooh.
I say right foot creep down while the window heat.
Ooh. 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 Okay, enough of that. There you go. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Okay, there we go. Yeah, okay.
Bro, what was that?
It's a for every $50 we get, I hit the gritty. I get up and hit the gritty. And
what is the gritty? Like, you're talking to an old man here.
It's
basically
like
where you
dance.
just bring your hands up like that.
Yeah. And I've gotten pretty good at it.
I guess why though is
because it's cool.
Oh yeah,
that's what the 12-year-olds say it is, but
I mean, I say that like, I haven't dressed up like Macho Man and impersonated him.
Right. I mean, we should know. I dress up in a mustard costume every single game.
It came from Justin Jefferson. Okay, good name.
Oh yeah, that's right. Justin Jefferson did make that. Now
because he's cute.
Yeah. Now who made this? Can you tell me who made that? Yeah, he doesn't have an answer, and I can't blame him.
So have you had women reaching out to you now after that? Like, oh my God, I saw your moves, bro, and like I gotta have it. I gotta. Has Carson Beck's girlfriend reached out to you since that day?
That hardly looked like moves. It looked like you had arthritis.
There is no context for Zesty Lucas. Oh God.
Yeah, that is true. What are your thoughts on Michigan? What are your thoughts on Michigan Tech going into next year, playing for them next year? I don't know. Sorry, I don't know what you're asking.
Michigan Tech? That's a school?
Yeah.
I don't play each other. It's not a school.
I would say that'd be an interesting matchup if they did, but that's all I know about that.
I'd love to play Michigan.
That would be a fun game. I've wanted to play Michigan too. We've only played them. It was like Ohio State for the longest time. Before last year, we only played Ohio State once ever in program history, and we were 1-0 against them, just like we're 1-0 against Michigan.
Oh, is Goob an Aggie guy?
Yeah, he's an A&M. He's a Texas A&M fan.
So I'll tell you a funny story then. So we have y'all probably have like a fan day. We have one where you can come get autographs from the players, like if you're a Techway member or something. Yeah. And that I have this crusade against left-handed people. Like I despise left-handed people. Well, I caught Haynes King writing on a clipboard on the sideline with his left hand. So he throws right-handed, but he's left-handed. So when I got up, I don't know why I thought this was appropriate to say to him. I said this to Haynes King. I was like, you think I wouldn't know? He just looked at me like, what? But the guy in front of me, his mom was an Aggies fan. So here's Haynes King in his Georgia Tech jersey, and he goes, hey, Haynes, can I get a gig 'em for my mom? And he was like, no. Absolutely not. Why would I do that?
That's like going up to Carson Beck right now and be like, hey, can I get a Go Dogs?
Yeah. Or going up to Nico, can I get a Go Vols?
Go Big Orange. Go Big Orange, yeah. Nico.
For Pop back at home.
Henry To'o. Can I get a Go Vol?
Oh my God.
I tell you what else I witnessed happen on Tech's campus. Sports Center came in before we played NC State, and Dan Mullen is on that crew, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of people, I don't know how to put this nicely, that are on the spectrum at Tech, right? And this kid definitely was. So he corners Dan Mullen, this Tech student, after the show ends, and he just will not stop shaking his hand. Like Dan Mullen's trying to walk away, and he's literally like pulling him back, shaking his hand.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Yeah, I don't know if Dan ever made it out of there. He might still be shaking his hand to this day. But yeah, that was fun.
He's just stuck there in purgatory, just basically in the endless handshake. That's what I would have done. I would have been like, all right, man, time to let go. I said it's time to let go. I said it's time to I would have just kept going further and further.
Yeah, man. What do y'all think about Sellers? I think he's a baller, man. I think he might end up with a trip to New York, depending on how things play out there. I mean, he's very talented.
Yeah. Definitely one of the top quarterbacks going into this season.
Michigan Tech is indeed a school, but they are D2 and unfortunately irrelevant in the FBS landscape.
Yeah, if they're D2, they won't be relevant probably in your lifetime. Sorry.
I feel like you gave us the third chapter in this book. Like there's something why did you bring up Michigan State or Michigan Tech?
There's like a missing chapter in the book that was ripped off, and we have no idea what happens.
Yeah, you want me to finish your murder mystery. I didn't write the first 4 chapters. I don't know who did it. With the candlestick, I have no idea. Michigan Tech has more fans in Miami. True.
Yeah.
True. They probably have more fans that attend games at a minimum.
Yeah, and UCLA is not too far from different. You go to a UCLA game, or at least even just see the field, see the stands. There's at max 500 people there. I mean, like, whenever they score a touchdown, you get like you can hear the audible claps. That's how little people are there.
By the way, speaking of Miami, I don't know, and we need to introduce your audience to Touchdown Tim, if you're not aware of Touchdown Tim.
Oh, no, not him.
Just follow Touchdown Tim on Twitter if you want to know how to talk to a woman and really be effective at it.
Julio, you know Touchdown Tim, right?
Yeah, I think so.
You do. If you saw one of his comments under like the threads of girls in bikinis, you'd know Touchdown Tim.
Dude, there was a girl.
I think I know who you're talking about.
I saw today. She had, abnormally large breasts, and he just posts a gif from Friends of this guy chugging milk. I'm like, Jesus, dude.
Do you have no shame? Don't you have a wife?
He's great, dude. I stumbled across him 2 years ago when he writes articles on this WordPress website. If I had to delete one of the streams because he made after they lost to Syracuse, basically said the greatest act of terrorism in New York history was what Guidry did to their defense in that game. And I'm like,
oh, God.
Yeah, man, he's out there.
Thank you for the $2 super chat. He says, what did I tune back into? Glory. College football talk, like we love to do here on this show. That's what this show is all about. Obviously, we talk a lot of all stuff on here, but I just love talking the game of college football, and that's what's important about this show.
Yeah, you're trying to get us back on track. Our Georgia Tech ACC contenders. Yes, I mean, aside from Clemson, Squid, you made this point, and I think it's a good point. Like, who's the clear number 2 in there? There's probably 3 teams you could throw in there, and Tech's probably one of them, right?
Yeah, I think it's Georgia Tech, Duke, and I'll have to find the third.
Clemson.
No, Clemson's the top dog. They're the top dog, and then you got to find like 3 contenders for that second spot, and it's Georgia Tech, Duke, and then somebody else. And I'm not saying North Carolina.
How much is SMU bringing back?
I think they returned their quarterback, if I'm not mistaken. The thing with SMU is they had a ridiculous easy schedule last year, and they don't have that this year. I don't think that's the other thing when you talk about contenders. You got to look at what their schedules look like. Like I think Pitt could be in that mix with Holstein. Virginia,
you are right, yeah,
be in that mix. For all I know, I mean it's not clear.
There's a lot of potential choices for sure.
What's Pitt's coach's name again?
Pat Narduzzi.
I will say of all the teams in the ACC, if Pitt doesn't live up to their expectation, like if they just shit the bed and go like 5 wins, I think Narduzzi's most likely to be fired.
Yeah, I do agree with that. But that's why I didn't mention him being fired before, because if I thought Pitt was going to tank again this season, I would have talked about it for sure. They've got a schedule where they can work around that. You know, Lucas, you'll be happy to know they play your Chippewas. They play Central Michigan.
Well, go Chippewas then.
Yeah, sorry, they're losing. Now they
Wrong.
They play West Virginia, but they're one of the unlucky ones who has to play Notre Dame. So
good.
Yeah, Notre
You got a
Dame
$2 super chat from you, mom.
Young man Connor with the $2 super chat. Thank you, buddy. He says, watch Carson transfer because his girlfriend broke up with him. Where's he going to go? Who wants that?
Oh, jeez.
I mean, the only team I can think of that would want that is, like, Stanford. Because Stanford
bring him to Central Michigan.
Like, Stanford could use just about anything right
Do
now.
you think a guy that's dumb enough to go to Georgia could cut it at Stanford academically? No.
No.
Good point. I kind of forgot about academics.
Out of like 160 plus teams polled, Georgia was second to dead last in graduation rate, by the way.
Doesn't surprise me.
You.
Look at what they're saying on Twitter. That should be a dead giveaway. It's not hard to graduate from a school like UGA.
They had a guy in Herschel Walker that ran for office here, and during a campaign speech said, you know, at Georgia, they teach you how to read, which at most colleges is a hard prerequisite. Literacy, that is.
Yeah, again, it doesn't surprise me. You know, they have the average IQ of a brick.
Guys, none of this matters. They won the national title in 2022.
Oh, good point.
None of it matters.
2022. Stetson Bennett. Hey, Stetson Bennett 2022.
What happened the minute he left Athens? He ended up in rehab. They wouldn't say it. We all know what happened to him. Oh, we can't talk about it. He's taking care of stuff. Okay. He immediately gets arrested because he's so drunk, he knocks on some Randar's door. Sounds like a Georgia guy to me.
It's pretty close. It kind of does definitely sound like a Georgia thing. That absolutely is. Has he like even played a single snap with an NFL team? I know he was drafted by the Rams.
The Rams. He was drafted by the Rams.
Yeah, in the 4th round, I think.
Something like that.
I think it was all the way. I think it was all the way back in the 7th or the 6th.
Yeah, all I know is that he was drafted by the Rams. That's all I know.
Hendon Hooker was drafted before he was. So
I'll tell you where Stetson went in the draft.
Speaking of which, how is Hooker doing in the NFL, Lucas? Do you know?
He's a backup for the Lions. Stetson is on the Los Angeles Rams, I think. I know that's where he was drafted.
Either he was. I don't know if he's still on the Rams though. I know Hendon Hooker's still on the Lions.
He was 4th round, 128th overall pick.
Speaking of which,
I'm pretty sure Hooker was drafted sometime in the 4th round too.
Yeah. Speaking of which, since the NFL draft is this week, you doing a stream, Squid?
I will be streaming for the NFL draft. Yes, I will. But it's gonna be tough because when's it start, Lucas?
I think it's Thursday.
Yeah, I know what time.
At probably about 8 or 9.
Okay. I have a night class, but it's not that late, so I can still get back home and then stream the draft. I was just wondering to make sure.
Yeah. We need to watch the Titans pick number 1. We need to watch that.
They're gonna fumble it like they always do.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. They're gonna fumble it like
Cam Ward is gonna be a Titan, man.
They need a quarterback, right?
We need basically everything, but.
But they do need a guy like Cam Ward. I'm just waiting for him to draft Jalen Milroe instead.
If we draft Jalen Milroe, I might break my TV and I'm done watching Titans football forever.
It might literally look like this.
Why, man? Why?
Nah, actually, I take it back. It'd be more like this.
Man, how many stingers are you gonna make of me?
That's the last one. But I have quite a few other stingers on here too. Here's one a jackpot. To this day, I don't know what it was that he threw, but he threw something at the TV.
It looked like a beer can or something.
I think it might have been a bottle of mustard. It was yellow. Hold on, let's look at it again.
It looks white. It looked like a shoe, even maybe. I don't know.
It might have been a shoe. I have no clue. Literally, just I don't know what it was.
The funniest thing I've seen him do is when that guy called in and screwed his stream up, and he called him back. Why did you do that? I'll hit you in the face with a Dr. Pepper. 0. Got real specific.
Dr. Pepper 0.
When was this?
It was last season. I'm trying to remember what game it was, but yeah, like somehow the way he had his stream set up when someone called him, it messed him up, and he went off on one of his epic rants.
Yeah,
that's hilarious. I'm gonna definitely have to take a look at that. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, this one's funny too.
Maybe on the 50-yard line, watching Clemson beat the shit out of Tennessee.
I don't even know why he said that. That was from last season, after the Orange Bowl. It was some country singer, obviously a Clemson man, and I don't know why he chose Tennessee of all teams. But
I think he was an Alabama fan because the original lyrics is watching Alabama beat the shit out of Tennessee. But since he was at Clemson, he changed up the lyrics.
Oh, that's even more humiliating.
He pandered to the crowd
and still lost. And still went out there and lost. Hilarious. Oh, you'll like this one.
That's your common Georgia fan right there.
They're proud of that. Look, I grew up 20 minutes from Athens, and so this is not like I've seen all this before. Like, can you imagine greeting your friends like that? Yeah. One of us.
You know what was funny though, Rec? When I went down to Athens for that game, the Tennessee-Georgia game, and I was walking downtown with my Tennessee gear on, I got way more like "Go Vols," "Go Big Orange," stuff like. I had more girls bark at me than I did guys. It was crazy.
Did you close the deal with any of them?
I tried, but unfortunately, I did not come through. We'll do it next. We'll do it next time, though. Next time, I'll be more prepared.
That will be the ultimate dunk: is to beat them in Athens, and then have sex with all their women. I think that's the goal.
All their women is something I do not. Look, we practice safe sex over here.
All of them. It's got to be.
Look, man, I don't want to come back with gonorrhea and be like, "Hey guys, so I got to go to the hospital, get tested for STDs because turns out one of the Georgia women down there had a disease that she didn't inform me of. So yeah, power to Tardaria."
It would make sense that one of the Georgia women would have diseases. So
well, I mean that's a casualty of war, you know. I mean that's the price you pay.
Well, apparently they don't know how to do a lot of things down there. They can't practice safe sex, nor do they know basic potty training. Because when I went down there to go to the bathroom, it was like midnight. You know, it was party time. All the students were doing their whatever. I walk into one of these bathrooms at a restaurant, or it was my friend too. Because he was looking for a place to go to the bathroom. We walk in there, and I kid you not, Rick, somebody, not just on the floor next to the toilet, not on just on the toilet seat, but on the wall. There's literally piles of shit on the wall. How do you do that?
They had to have like picked it out of the toilet and threw it at the wall. That's the only explanation.
Somebody
Well, he was
just
probably
dropped-
nervous going in there, like, think, how do I do this again? Someone told me the last time, but I'd never done it by myself. Wall, that's what we did.
Oh yeah, the wall, of course. Yeah, smart. I mean, intellect right there. It astounded me, man. It's like somebody dropped off a chimpanzee and said, "Go loose, buddy. Have a fun time." And that's exactly what I think. In one of the bathrooms that he tried to go into, somebody shit on the mirror, where the sinks were. Somebody literally took shit, like a big pile of doo-doo, and threw it at the mirror.
That's because it looked better than their own reflection, probably.
I guess so.
It wasn't a
Probably. But honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if that's a typical Tuesday in Athens.
Dude, it's rough. Like, I've also lived in Athens before. And, like, if you go downtown, man, there was many a night. Like, there was one night I saw a guy being carried out of the bar by, like, 4 guys, and they had him up like this, like, running down the street with him. And he was, like, passed out drunk.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. That's like, compared to the shit on the wall thing, that's like vanilla, if anything. I mean, based off some of the stuff I saw down there, and again, we were down there till like 1 or 2 in the morning, and yeah, Tennessee fans were all down there in the bars celebrating. Had a couple of guys come up to me and be like, "Hey, are you a Tennessee fan?" I literally looked down at my hoodie, which was a Tennessee hoodie, and I was like, and then is of course followed by slurs that I can't say here on the channel.
Yeah. Well, you got to fight them, dude.
Not nicest. Congratulations, Squid. You encountered the nicest Georgia fan.
But here's the thing about them. Like, you know how we have all these unwritten rules, like complaining about refs, complaining about injuries and stuff. They're the first one to do that when they lose, though. They're the first ones. No one whines and bitches like these guys. Nobody. So you can call me everything you want, but soft is not one of them. They are soft. Brent Key last year just made a statement that, oh, yeah, we don't like the University of Georgia. On their radio stations for like a year, they're like, you going to learn. Well, I mean, it went to 8 overtimes. I don't think you had Kirby going for 2. Took belt to ass for the first half. I don't think it much.
Yeah. Not with the $5 super chat. Thank you, good sir. He says, to be fair for that guy, a lot of people just wear team stuff. It's not too uncommon. Yeah.
Not in that environment, though.
Yeah, right. And I'm not willing to give him the benefit of the doubt because he immediately followed it up with slurs. So, yeah. I can't defend that. You're going to like this, Rec. One of these Georgia fans that had something to say to me, I actually confronted him, and I have it on video. And in fact, it's a short that I made. Here, I'm gonna give you guys a lot of you in the chat have seen this, but I don't think Rec has. So we're gonna let him see it. You're gonna love it. Trust me, this is great. So yeah, we were walking in downtown Athens. Okay, and we were walking past a bunch of Georgia fans, and there was one guy who was all by his lonesome, and he thought it would be a phenomenal idea to call me out while he was all by his lonesome, and then I turn around and confront him. So you'll have to see it. It's great.
Yeah, go Bulls, baby! Go Bulls, baby! What'd you say? What'd you say? Hold up. Say it for the camera. What was it? What'd you call me? Yeah. No. What the other thing? What'd you call me? What did you call me before that? You know what? We all heard it. What'd you say? What are you talking about? What did you say? We all heard you say it. We all heard you. Hey, come on. We all heard you, buddy. Go Bulls, baby. He's big.
Yeah, so there you go. That's a taste of what you'll get as a visiting fan in downtown Athens.
Yeah, they fold like a chair, man. Yeah, if you said it, just own it, buddy. Just own it.
What was he talking about? Now, he was probably blackface drunk. I mean, that's probably how he ended up on his lonesome to begin with. But just my favorite part of that entire thing is that he gave me the finger gun and just went, yay. Like, ooh, got me there.
Shooter.
And it's not just him, though. I mean, I've had several confrontations with other fans, too. A Tennessee fan, too. Tennessee guy came up to me while I was wearing my mustard costume heading down to the UTEP game last year. And he goes, Halloween's over, stupid douchebag. It's like, dude, what is your problem? And I have that one on video, too. You want to see that?
Yeah.
All right, let me whip it out real fast.
Oh, jeez.
Golly, I wish Lucas was down there with me. I bet you would have loved to see that live, man.
I mean, it would have been hilarious, and also,
what?
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, but that mustard costume is cringe, bro. I'm sorry.
You're just mad that you didn't think of anything more original than that. It's funny. Look, us YouTubers will do anything to kind of put ourselves out there. Are you going to say the same thing about Macho Wreck and the Buzzsaw?
Yeah.
What about
them?
There's nothing I won't do to defile myself on this platform.
Right. Okay, so here goes dummy right here. This old guy wearing a Hooters jacket got mad at me because I was wearing my mustard costume, and we were like right at Neyland Stadium. So this guy was just waiting to pounce on me. It's weird.
Yeah. And
Way to go, guy! Halloween's over.
Just in case they throw me on the field, buddy.
Way to go, douchebag! Halloween's over.
Well, we big mad.
Look at what you have on.
What you wearing, buddy?
Go home, old man. Why are you yapping, bro?
Calm down, old man.
Get back to bed, boy. What the fuck is he talking about?
Why is he so mad?
Chirping.
Good Lord.
Chirping for no reason.
And this continues onward, like he's walking backwards and still yelling at us from all the way like blocks away, still screaming at us.
How long do you think he had to think? Like, how long was he walking behind you? Like, I got to think of something real good to say. Like several minutes, probably.
Well, we were walking down the hill when he was standing down there, so he was at least thinking about that for a few minutes.
Dude, old man can be the worst. When I went to Syracuse, this guy walked by me after we lost, and I had like a Tech jersey on. He's like, I give you 50 cents for that jersey. And so I was up there with a girl I used to work with. Like, I was staying with her, who's not confrontational. Now, I'm not some kind of badass, but I don't have a lot of chill for that kind of thing. And they had like buses you would get in to take you back to the parking lot. Well, he just so happened to get on the same bus. And I'm like, hey, right here, buddy, sit right here and talk that shit. And then the girl like grabbed my arm in that embarrassed way. I'm like, no. So we didn't get to continue the confrontation.
Dang, brutal.
But what game was that with the mustard? Like, who was he a fan of? And I'm guessing he lost.
Well, I'm guessing he was I don't know what fan he was, because that was at the UTEP game. So he could have been a UTEP fan, but it's more likely that he was just some random drunk Tennessee fan.
I think he was a Tennessee fan.
So here's the thing, like with Georgia, all SEC fan bases are not like this. So I went to the Grove. I went to Ole Miss when we played them, 2 years ago. There were fans there. They were like, hey, you're the visitor. We'll buy your beer. Like, what do you want to drink? I'm like, damn, dude, I don't even treat people that good at Bobby Dodd. Like, they were great. North Carolina in general was pretty good when I went up there. Have you been to anywhere other than Athens away?
I went to Baton Rouge, but not as an away
Rough.
fan. My dad's side of the family was all LSU fans. This was a long time ago, so I wasn't I wasn't really all that outspoken about my Tennessee stuff. This was before I even had like a big channel, so naturally I was just there, just kind of fitting in with the crowd. And of course they were crazy, they were nuts, but I mean they
like to go with like death threats and stuff. That's what Pete told me. And I think they threatened Tim Tebow's like sister and stuff. Like they're probably crazier than Georgia fans.
LSU, LSU fans are pretty insane.
They're out
I'll
there.
give you that. I didn't see any of that there. There was some shithole Alabama fans because they went to the LSU Alabama game back in 2018 when they beat the hell out of LSU. So naturally they were of course smack talking the entire night, and we were in like the Alabama student section or anything, but there was like a couple of hundred Alabama fans behind us, just constantly just screaming "Roll Tide." So yeah, you had that going on. And even as me disguised as an LSU fan, I'm still thinking in my head, man, I hate Alabama fans, man. They're just the absolute worst. But they're not. Georgia fans are still way worse. I'll always live by that. Ever since I've been here on YouTube, Georgia fans have been giving me more hell than anybody else. And it's over the stupidest things. I mean, you saw it last night on your show, Rec. In case y'all don't know, Rec was doing a show Friday, and it was a phenomenal show. Y'all should go definitely check it out if you can. I hope you continue to do that show. But
I'm having Lou on the second.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, he was without I wasn't saying anything mean about Georgia, but he was just dogging the shit out of Tennessee for no reason. Tennessee sucks. Tennessee is obviously trying to get a reaction out of me.
He's trolling.
Yeah, no. But it wasn't just him. And when we were giving our Georgia predictions, and me and you and I think it was Jackpot or Rockin' Rant, yeah. Three of us said 9-3. Some of the other Georgia fans that were checking out, these guys are messed up as hell. They're drunk. They're completely out of their mind. They're smoking. Georgia ain't going 9-3. What's wrong? Which as if it's like the most outlandish thing we said. It's acting like we said Georgia is going to lose every SEC game this upcoming season. Like, what? You know
who else said they were going 9-3? Uncle Lou.
Oh boy!
In the chat, he said that. He said they're losing 3 games. Dude, I'll tell you how crazy Georgia fans are. I have Georgia fans to this day, more than one, that comment on every single video of mine that has nothing to do with Georgia. Just and I guess they have nothing better to do because like they live in some shitty trailer park and they don't have a job. Right. And so they're like, well, the best I can do with my life is try and get a rise out of Rec. Like, how sad is that? You imagine your life being that way?
And they're doing it over here, too. The same. It might be the same people. Unrelated videos. It'll be a college football chaos video. It'll be a video talking about friggin' Nebraska or something like that. Here comes the Georgia fan. Yeah, well, this Nebraska's at least not as bad as Tennessee. By the way, here's the score of the Georgia-Tennessee game last year. Like, who gives a shit? We're not talking about y'all.
They do.
They got to be involved in everything. They've got to be the grand central focus on everything. Whenever they get into a live chat about anything, it's how can I make this about Georgia football dominating everybody? That's exactly what they do.
Dude, the Georgia fans are like the pick-me girls of college football fans. Like, I'm not getting attention right now. But anyways, well, I gotta get out of here. I'm gonna get to bed, man. But I appreciate you having me on for sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Thank you for being on the show tonight. Really appreciate it. Great show. Great
Yes,
show.
sir.
We went 40 minutes over. So obviously, whenever we do that, it's a great show. So Rec, looking forward to having you on again, man, sometime soon.
Appreciate it, man. Talk to you guys later.
Sounds good, man. See ya.
Rick.
So that was Mr. Rec Talk. Great stream tonight, you guys. A great show. We had a lot of talk, and we talked a lot of sports today. Talked a lot of Tennessee stuff, and we even got a preview of what Georgia Tech's going to look like next season. So Yeah, great show. Went way over what I thought I was going to do. We're at 76 push-ups now. Thank you all again for the super chats. We had a great night tonight in terms of super chats, so I appreciate it. Julio, you haven't had a lot of time to speak, man. Is there anything you want to add on to anything we've talked about?
Oh no, I hadn't really said much because I don't really know too much about Georgia Tech. I only watched a couple games, this year and stuff like that from them. So I didn't, have much of an opinion on them. I like them way more than Georgia or anything.
Very
So
true. Yes.
Yeah, I like them more than Georgia, but let's be honest, Georgia Tech, nobody really pays attention to because nobody cares about them. I mean, got to go ahead and get that trash talk started early, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
So here's what I want to know: if Georgia football winds up miraculously winning the national championship this year, does this mean that nobody cares about football? Because that's what you're doing to us every time we win a championship or win something big in another sport. Oh yeah, nobody cares about that sport anyway. Nobody cares about it. That sport don't even matter. So if y'all start winning in football, does that mean now we can say that football doesn't matter? Just throwing that out there. Okay, then. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do some push-ups here real fast, and then we're going to call it a wraps on the show. So, Lucas, tell us what's going on with you over this week.
Well, I got a new job. I mean, pretty good. Today was my first day. It was pretty good, if y'all were wondering. We hit 160 subscribers on the YouTube channel. Make sure y'all subscribe to me, Wolverine. Make sure you go follow me on Twitter. We're trying to get to 1.5 thousand followers on Twitter, Wolverine. And just go Vols, and of course tighten up. Where, like Squid said, I think he's doing an NFL stream. You best believe. Cam Ward, future Tennessee Titan, and yeah, I guess if y'all want to watch, some of my streams and watch me do the thing that Squidtard showed multiple times, then yeah, come and check my streams out. You can see me do something bad. You can see me
like this.
Yes.
Like yeah, thought so. Julio, what's going on with you, buddy? Anything else that you want to touch on?
Oh, I said that didn't really say anything that much. Don't really have anything else to say really right now either. Not much has changed. A few. Really, the only I did have much more to say earlier. Probably got my talking in for the day just on the WrestleMania thing I did earlier with Lucas. Kind of crashed out there for a little bit about the ads. But yes, if you want to see that, go watch that. But
all right, well, y'all go check out Lucas's most recent stream where you can see Julio crash out about whatever. Appreciate you guys being on as always. Another great stream here on the Volstar Podcast. We'll see you guys next week for whatever episode of volunteer foolishness awaits us. Appreciate everybody. Appreciate everybody for the super chats. Y'all are great people. That really means a lot. That goes a long way here on the show. Shout out to all of my channel members: Tyler Heller, Wolverine, Jolena Renji, Rainman998899, EVX, Sifs, Young Man Connor, SEC Football Tube, Mantis Toboggan, Justin Boatwright, and then I think we actually got another that I don't have listed on here, and I would feel awfully bad as an individual if I didn't name him, so I'm going to go back and check my members real quick to see if I'm forgetting anybody. Oh, of course, Niblo Gamer. So thank you all for being a part of the channel members. Y'all are great people. Love each and every one of you. And that's all I really have to say. We'll see you guys next week for another episode of the Volstar Podcast. We'll see you guys on Saturday. Also, if you're interested in watching me, fail some more in the Squidtard Dynasty. We'll see how that turns out later on down the line. And I have no idea whether or not I'm doing Tard Area Tuesdays tomorrow. I might not even do any gaming tomorrow. It might just be a hangout stream. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, appreciate all you guys for being on here tonight. We'll see you all next week. And as always, power to Tard Area. And of course, go Big Orange. And we'll keep an eye on you. Mr. Joey Aguilar. Thank you for coming to the